I'm just going to help you today with modified internal rate of return. So the modified internal rate of return combats one of the major downfalls of internal rate of return, and that is the assumption that cash flows from a project can be reinvested and earn the same return of that project. Okay, it sounds like I just talked in a big circle. I'm not going to get into the theory of what that is. Any of your textbooks will explain this. Many authors do a wonderful job of breaking this down. But essentially, the modified internal rate of return can give you a more reasonable rate of return if the project we're analyzing has a much higher or lower return than what we normally can achieve as a company. So let's get into the mechanics of this. I've got my cash flows here. You can see that I've done the net present value and the internal rate of return for these same cash flows in different videos back on the Finance Course Guru channel. So if you're working on those methods of analysis as well, you can see how these cash flows play out in those other methods. This a lot. I've set up this box because it helps me organize my cash flows and the projects that I'm working on. You certainly don't have to, but if you need to turn in some type of assignment where the table needs laid out, or formatting counts, this would be a good idea. Or if you're going to give a professional presentation, doing something like this helps. So we just translate the cash flows from the project to the cash flows in our MIRR analysis. Now what we're going to get to do is state the discount rate. So again, the discount rate typically is the weighted average cost of capital, but many different books use many different terms, required rate of return, hurdle rate, threshold, whatever it might be. But let's assume our discount rate for this project is 12%. Now you're going to see the MIRR is not changed yet. So that 3.71, that's an erroneous number because the formula is already there. We have to tell the formula what is our reinvestment rate. So even though this project might earn us 12%, even though our discount rate might be 12%, at what rate can we reinvest these funds during the project? Well, let's say that we're a company that normally earns 5% rate of return. It wouldn't be fair to assume our earnings to be reinvested at 12%, so we can tell MIRR that we're going to reinvest this at a 5% throughout the life of the project. And you can see that allows us to state our discount rate for this project, or our internal rate, or hurdle rate, or our weighted average cost of capital. It allows us to state our reinvestment rate, and it gives us an modified internal rate of return, in this case of 5.81. So again, the theory of modified internal rate of return is a little bit more complicated than the actual mechanics. Excel makes this really easy for us. So let's just check out what we have. You can see now that the values are just listed in the order in which they enter the business. So the cash outlay is first, and then we have the cash inflows for the rest of the years. You state the finance rate, which is your hurdle or required rate of return, and then you state the reinvestment rate, and that's really it. Excel will do the rest of the work for you. I hope this has been helpful. A quick discussion of modified internal rate of return. Again, if you're using analysis of net present value or internal rate of return, be sure to flip back to the Finance Course Guru channel, and I work through those for you. I hope this is helpful. If there's any other subjects you want me to cover, please leave me a note in the comments. Thanks.